I think that it's coming. I'm watching the scroller scroll. Are you guys there? Let's see. Oh, I think that we're live. Hi, how's everybody doing out there today? Um, it is a beautiful Friday. Wow, it's like one of those days that you just want to bottle up and keep with you every single day. It's like sunny and warm, but not too hot. There's a little breeze, there's no bugs. Wow. Um, my name is Crispina French, and I am often asked about my name. I'll tell you about that in a minute, but I am a textile recycling entrepreneur, social activist. I'm really empowered by making an impact in our kind of collective consciousness about just being mindful about consumption in all things that we consume, from food to um, clothing to cars and fossil fuel. Like I'm really interested in um, paying attention and shining a light on the impact that humans make on the planet. And I'm not a scientist, but I love nature, and I love to try to figure out if there's a way we can all step back a little bit and find a better balance to support our natural environment. So I have kicked off this 30-day series it's almost 3 weeks ago, actually. It'll be 3 weeks tomorrow. Um, and I do a live demonstration or talk about textile recycling and how that has impacted my life, and just the history of that for me. And I'd like to share tips and tricks and tutorials and my techniques to help others find creativity in a process that not only nurtures them through the the kind of soothing aspects of making with your hands, but it also nurtures the planet by reusing materials that have been generated for other purposes. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about that, just about the idea of like why is it important work? What's important about recycling textiles, and what does that actually mean? I feel like sometimes I use terminology and jargon that other people who are not so intimately tied to my line of work are kind of wondering, like, what does that actually mean? So when I say I'm a recycled textile entrepreneur, what I mean is that I buy used clothing, and sometimes people donate used clothing to me, and I turn it into other things. So I use the material. I look at the fabric that is used for whatever um, used materials I find, whether it's at the thrift store or through donations, and I kind of ascertain, like, what is going to be the best use of this type of fabric that will give it a second life and enable somebody to use it and have it be something that's actually functional in the world. So there's a bunch of things that I think about when I'm kind of ascertaining the best use, and my process is a little bit different than somebody else's might be, because I am really motivated by using things that are on the way to the landfill. So it doesn't matter what that thing might be, whether it's, I mean, it does, because I have to focus in, because there's so many things being sent to the landfill that I couldn't possibly find a creative reuse for all of it. But so my focus is really on textiles. And I do venture off my path into the wild world of like cardboard and paper, and I was really into cereal boxes for a while. I did this really funny campaign a few years ago. I mean, I'm talking like more than just a couple of years ago, um, where we sent out. I used to have a wholesale business, and I had a bunch of stores, 350 stores internationally all around the world, who sold the product that my company produced. And people often say to me, "Oh, Crispina, oh, that sounds like a breakfast cereal." And I actually say that to people sometimes when they don't hear my name the first time. They think I say Crispina, or they think I say Christina, and I say, "Oh no, it's actually Crispina. It sounds like a breakfast cereal." And then they go, "Oh yeah, Crispina," and they can say it. So it's kind of a funny little joke. And it was I took cereal boxes and I flattened them I collected them from all my employees and all their friends, and I had this giant stack of cereal boxes that we flattened, and we stitched up one end of the flattened box and put our catalog inside and with a sticky label on it, and sent them out as our mailers. And it was just, I don't know if everybody who received them found as much humor in it as I did, but I really liked that they were cereal boxes and that people think Crispina is a breakfast cereal. And it was also really noticeable. People still talk to me about the mailers that I sent out when before the internet was so accessible to everybody. We sent out a lot of mailings, and I always tried to make my mailings kind of stand out and be something like creative and fun and something that someone would like to keep and look at, just even if they weren't necessarily ready to make a purchase. So, and I still do that. I still enjoy, I do send mailers out every once in a while. So if you're on my mailing list, my email list, um, there's oftentimes a spot where you can include your mailing address, and that's why I don't share any of that information with anybody. Your information is really private with me, so um, I think that that's a really important part about running an integrity-based business. So we were talking about materials and how to ascertain the best use of materials. So when I buy materials, and because of my history in this large volume production kind of mindset, I would buy like tractor trailer loads of material, and it would be sorted by fiber content and color often. So I would buy like 1,000 pounds of purple wool sweaters, and I wouldn't say sweaters, I would just say purple wool knits. So it would be mostly sweaters, but sometimes socks or knitted pants or hats or whatever. Um, and then I would also buy, denim. I used to buy overalls. The more specifically you request your materials to come to you, the more expensive they are, and the higher price you pay per pound. But so I was buying overalls, and overalls are actually really expensive because they are weighed. You buy them by the pound, and if you say I want denim 100% cotton overalls, it's going to cost you. And they have a lot of hardware on them, which you don't think about this stuff unless you're buying used clothing by the pound. So then once I got the material, and specifically the wool would change most notably because of the felting process, oftentimes would shrink the sweaters. And so I would machine wash and dry my material as it came in, just to be sure that it was like really clean for my employees. And then it would change the fiber or the structure of the sweaters more than like the jeans and stuff. And then I would sort the material once it had been processed through the wash machine and dryer. So I would then say, oh, okay, this material is going to be perfect for the blankets that I make, or the sweaters, or the ragamuffins, the little stuffed toys that I started with. And there was different kinds of characteristics that were best for each of those product categories. And the product categories came about because I would find a large volume of sweaters in the mix that were not useful for the products that I was already selling. So it all kind of evolved that way. And then, so now it's very hard sometimes to tell what a sweater is going to look like when it comes out of the dryer when you're first looking at it. Now, of course, in this day and age of the advent of polar fleece and so many different synthetic fabrics out there, that there's not as much wool, certainly not wool sweaters in the mix as there was when I was running my production company. So now it's more, diversified. My fiber content runs from corduroy to cashmere to, I try to avoid the synthetic fabrics as much as possible, but I do get a lot of scrap from people who use fabrics in their process. So when I say that I recycle manufacturers' waste, what that means is that I go to different places that manufacture using cloth, and I use their cutting room scrap. So I have a couple of businesses that I work with pretty consistently, and one of them is my friend Mimi, who runs this amazing, very high-end reupholstery shop. So she gets these really beautiful, pretty heavyweight fabrics that are designed to be used for upholstery, and those make great. So when I see that, okay, I'm thinking, okay, heavyweight, most of them are not designed to be machine washed and dried, but I do machine wash and dry everything so that I can tell people that, the product that I make can then be machine washed and dried for the most part. You want to be careful and use like a gentle cycle or a delicate wash for the stuff that has wool. But I have a whole list of how to care for the product that I make on my website. So you can go there and look at that. And join the email list because I got some fun stuff coming up. I got I'll talk about that later too. Okay, so heavyweight decorative fabrics. They make really great bags. Think of things that you have in your life that are made out of pretty densely woven or sturdy fabrics. You wouldn't want to make like a little summer dress because it would be too hot and it would be too crisp and kind of bulky. It wouldn't really be something comfortable right next to your skin. They also, in addition to bags, backpacks, which I'm hankering to start a new batch of backpacks because I really like making those. It also is great for like a jacket or maybe some jeans. So you can you have to kind of look at the material that you're looking to recycle and kind of ascertain through just thoughtful process that what kind of material is, what kind of garment or what kind of useful thing can I make from this piece of material. This is a cashmere vest, for instance, and sorry, there's a bunch of little bits of yarn and stuff around here. So, a cashmere vest, like I'm thinking about making this into a sweater for winter, but I would want to make it a little bit bigger so I could fit something under it. And it's also nice to have cashmere touch your skin because it's just lovely. It's very soft. It's like, and it's also very warm. So it's lightweight, soft, and warm. So, baby blankets. I use cashmere very often for hoods. And on the sweaters that I make the hoods out of cashmere. I make the cuffs where it's probably going to be touching your skin out of cashmere. So anywhere that a wintry garment would actually come in contact with your skin, I try to make out of the most luscious, amazing fabrics. So, that's kind of what I think about when I'm deciding what types of material to use where. And you can think about that too. A lot of people are not, they're wool sensitive, so they're using things like velvets or velours or polar fleece to where they love the feel of that on their skin, so they're going to be prone to using that, or I'm suggesting that you might want to think about using that kind of material where it touches your skin. I remember when my son was little, we went to this amazing event in Oregon. It's called the Oregon Country Fair. If anybody out there listening has ever been to the Oregon Country Fair outside of Eugene, pop a name in the comments, pop a comment in the comments, and let me know, because it was just like I have these two really good girlfriends that we've known each other forever. We both did the same very first wholesale craft fair, and we met at that show, and we were all kind of like similar. Like we were all very young. They're sisters. They made sweaters. I cut up sweaters. And they live in Arcata, Northern California. Their business is called Hot Knots and Tara Hand Knits. And for years, we would do shows together, and we would always be sure to we'd ask for booths right next to each other. So we'd see each other. Like I would hang out with them way more than I would hang out with my friends at home, because when I was home, I was always working. And when I was at a trade show with Gail and Andrea, we would just be like, in the evenings, we'd work all day, and then in the evenings, we'd hang out, watch movies, go have dinner, go shopping, and we just had so much fun together. But they invited me to come and join them one year for the Oregon Country Fair, and where they had a booth. Their mom had a booth. They're kind of like, their family sort of like mine, like they came from artist parents, and anyway, their mom had a booth at the Oregon Country Fair, and then it became their booth, and it's like this little tree house. It's amazing. Like the whole event is just like fairyland. And Ben and I went out there when he was just a little guy. I think he was 3 the first time we went out. And there was this woman there vending these amazing like hoodie sweatshirts that were all made out of like this luscious cotton, like velvety velour, and they were all like embroidered together. Like they were all hand sewn, which it just spoke to me because that's kind of was like what I was doing, but with it, our stuff looked totally different, but was like had a similar kind of richness to it. And I got him one of these hoodies, and I was like kind of a starving single mom at the time, not starving, but like I could have gotten food stamps if I applied for them, and so I'd gotten there kind of by the seat of my pants, and I was like I had like $100 or something to spend for like the week I was out there, and this sweatshirt that I bought for Ben was like $40, and which was so cheap, but um, he really liked to wear it inside out because it was velour and that soft, like yummy, just like it was like a cocoon. And it still looked cool because the inside was all the pretty colors, but we got a lot. I got the, like one that was like way too big for him, and we rolled the sleeves up and then kind of rolled them down as he grew. And he got a couple years use out of that thing. And we went back another time a couple of years later and got another one that was bigger because it was just like his favorite thing to wear. And we had some really awesome memories at that event. So if anybody out there, I'm sure, I mean, I'm imagining it happens the second weekend of July, and I'm willing to bet they probably took a year off this year just because of the COVID virus, and it's not like socially distancing at the Oregon Country Fair would be nearly impossible. I mean, it would just not, it would take the charm away from the whole event. So maybe next year, wouldn't that be cool? I would so love to go back there next year. So if anybody out there is listening and wants to rendezvous at the Oregon Country Fair 2021, I think we should put it on the calendar. Maybe I'll even apply to vend there and see if I can get in. It's really, really hard to get in because everybody wants to vend there, and it's like, there's only a certain number of people who can, and there's people who have been there for like 150 years. Not really, but you know what I mean. And there's not a lot of turnover, I guess is my point. So, materials are important, and if you think really carefully about what you like the feel of, or what you're like, I think one of the easier projects to start with is actually like a baby blanket because they're flat and you don't have to worry about fit and everything. So, when you're making a baby blanket, you want to use something that's lovely and that's not too hard to care for, and that you can kind of know that it's not going to have like chemicals or like weird stuff. Like babies are just so like fresh and unaltered, and like I don't know, I was always wrapping my kids up in like organic cotton swaddling cloths and like cashmere as much as I could, and most of the stuff I used for them was thrifted, honestly. Like the materials were thrifted. I might have altered I made them cashmere like woolies to put over their diapers, and they were all from the thrift store. So you can live a very environmentally friendly life without spending much money at all, because environmentalism is a little bit like minimalism, but maybe not as drastic. Well, it's just differently drastic, I guess, because thrift store shopping is super green. Like that's the way to go if you want to not make a big human imprint. And if you do buy, this is another point I wanted to cover today. If you do wind up buying a new kind of garment, like my girls both are in need of a pair of jeans. So, I actually would love to learn more, but the little bit of quick research I did was that Levi's is actually a really mindful company. They do a lot with like water retention and low impact manufacturing, and they have a really pretty good track record with their employees and respecting human labor and being kind of cool. So we ordered Levi's, and which I'm glad to have that knowledge. So you guys, I am not seeing a single comment today, and I'm not sure what's going on with that. Maybe it's just so darn beautiful outside that you guys are all going to come back and listen to this later, but I just wanted to let you know how much it has meant to me to have this time to share with you every morning for the last nearly 3 weeks. I will be back tomorrow live at 11 right here on Facebook, and after the recordings are complete, they get posted on my YouTube channel as well. If you're interested in learning more about how you can do some textile upcycling, I have 2 fun projects coming up. Oh, Kimberly, you're there. Well, hello, hello. I'm so glad. It looks like people are watching, but you're the first comment that I see, which means that I must be answering the questions that are on people's minds. But if you have a question and you're able to hear me now, you're welcome to post them in the comments. I will get to those as much as I can. Or if not today, I can certainly go back and get them um, after the live recording's done and address them tomorrow or in the next segment, before the 11th of August when this 30-day series winds down. So the couple fun projects that I have coming up are the Stitch Along, which you can learn more about on my website at the blog, is culminating. The auction is going to be live. I've got my fingers crossed. The technology is the stuff that kind of boggles my mind the most. That is, God willing, now don't put it on your calendar in pen, but you can pencil it in. The live auction for the Stitch Along blanket, which is raising money for our local domestic violence support center, is going live on August 4th. So, maybe it's going to be the 5th. I will definitely keep you posted, but I just want you to know that that's coming up and learn more about it on my blog. Actually, I have a big blog post going live later today on that. And then in addition to that, I'm going to start a second Stitch Along, which will be going, probably get started right around the middle of August. And then in the middle of September, just a month after that, we're gonna kick off a potholder rug course, which is going to be like, there'll be like a weekly installment for 5 weeks. And it goes right from building a loom through making custom potholder rugs. It's a really in-depth, no secrets, kind of all the details right out there for you to get started making potholder rugs. So if you're interested in learning more about either one of those things, I have kind of a general email list over on my website, which I'm going to kind of refine in the next week or 10 days. So pop your name on the mailing list there, and then you can kind of pick and choose which emails you want to get, because I don't want to inundate anybody with emails. And it's really easy to unsubscribe from my list if it after the fact, like you're done with that part and you just whatever. It's fun. I hope I keep them entertaining. I don't send out a ton, and if they drive you nuts, you can hop right off that wagon. So yeah, thanks for being here with me today, you guys. I really appreciate your time, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a lovely, lovely Friday.